Hello, friends. Welcome back to Creative Compass, where we are navigating the journey back to our inner artist. This week, we've been speaking with artists and creative teachers and guides who have been sharing with us their unique journeys to their creative lives and some of the wisdom that they have learned along the way. Today, we are speaking with Joyce Vanderlely. Joyce is a spiritual empowerment guide and dream creator. She specializes in helping creative change makers and magical misfits to begin again, to make their mark, and to live their dreams. A shamanic infused artist alchemist, using creative expression as medicine and weaving the magic of this into every part of life. She's also the mom of two highly creative teenagers, and her soulmate is always with her, supporting her backstage and from the wings on her wild wanderings. Welcome, Joyce. It's so nice to have you here today.
Oh, thank you, Amy, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to share and to bring more creativity into the world. Yeah, because we all need it.
And Joyce is joining us from New Zealand today. So it's nice to have her from the other side of the planet from where I am. Yeah. And so Joyce, every artist has their own unique story, their own journey to how they came to the creative life that they're living. And can you start off by sharing with us a little bit of your own journey to becoming an artist alchemist?
Yes, so I've always been creative, and I think that is one of the things I believe, that we all are creative from when we are young, from our very beginning. We are all set out to be creative, and what happens is that a lot of us lose their creativity or lose their freedom in expressing their creativity along the way. So I've always been creative, and I've always loved creating and making things. Luckily, I had supportive parents that were also in certain ways creative, you know. But of course, I also grew up in this, like, creativity is lovely, dear, but as a hobby, you know, kind of way. And for me, that brought my life into, it's always been a sort of a dance. Like, I've been leaning more into my creativity, being pulled back into getting a normal job, you know, following the normal way, and then being not happy with that and not feeling satisfied and content, and then swaying back into my creativity, and then going back to a job for money. Usually it is, you know. And everybody, of course, confirms, like, yes, of course, creativity never pays the bills. It's never a sustainable career. And then that's just been a regular pattern in my life. You could say up and down, or I like to call it like it's a dance. It's sort of a dance, a slalom. You know, you go this way, you go that way, and in the end, and I love that you talk about a compass, because that's how compasses work, right? You set course, and even if you're 1 degree off, you end up slightly off course, and then you have to readjust. And so that's a little bit like that. You go a little bit more into the creative side, and then maybe more into the what is expected by society kind of way. And then in the end, you go into a direction that you've set course into. And so that is how I experienced my life. And I decided to move to the other side of the world in 1995 in pursuit of a better quality of life, because I traveled a lot and I saw a lot of things, and I felt like I needed to be in a place where I could be more myself and be more connected to nature and more space and all that, you know. And definitely I found that here. But how I became a full-time artist really happened after the big shake up of my life, you know. And that is, I now know from having conversations with a lot of other artists about these kind of things. It is like, usually it's a big event in a life that happens, you know, that happens to us unexpectedly, that suddenly shakes us to our core and opens us up, like opens our eyes to what we really, really want to do with our lives. And that is when all us professional creatives come out, you know? Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing. I believe now that we, you know, and a lot of creatives and a lot of visual artists will understand, without dark, you have no light, and without light and dark, you cannot create any image, really. You know, you need the shadows to show off the highlights, and without that, you cannot draw a three-dimensional object, for instance. So they are as important. Our shadows are as important. So that brought me to a whole different journey, going within and finding, understanding, you know, myself, the shadow sides, and combining it all together. And that's really how the Artemis, the Alchemist, you know, happened. Yeah.
So I know that a lot of our viewers are going to resonate with that moment, that pivot point where something shakes up in your life. You know, we all have those moments in our life, and yeah, it sets you on a different course sometimes. Awesome. So Joyce, you describe yourself as an artist alchemist. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means to you?
Yeah. So I now, my website is called The Alchemist, and that name came to me in a dream download, whatever you want to call it, last year during the first lockdown period that we had here with the pandemic. I had been, you know, I don't know about you, but I had been looking for a thing that fitted right, you know. It's like almost like you're trying to find that pair of pants or that jeans or whatever that just fits right, that just feels like your nest, you know, it holds you, it supports you, it's comforting, it also offers you the space to explore and to grow and to you know, to reach bigger. Somehow, I don't know, I was just always thinking like there must be something, a name that resonates. And so, you know, you come across other people that use really pretty words, and I love playing with words, but I'm not a wordsmith, you know. But then I had read the book The Alchemist, and I don't know if you know that, but it's you know, the story really resonated because I've always been talking about, we are more like, I'm a mixed media artist, and we have layers. I work with layers, but we also have layers. We have, you know, different things. I'm a multi-passionate, for, you know, that's the other thing. I'm not just one thing. I love doing a lot of different things, and I love weaving it together. So it's always been something like blending it, molding it together, bringing it together, layering it, you know. And so when I read The Alchemist, the book, I thought, this feels right. You know, an alchemist is somebody that mixes things together and gold comes out, right? Yeah. And so I love stories. And I love a bit of magic. And so one morning I woke up and I had this dream of the Artemis, art, alchemist, and Artemis, the goddess. I had been reading up on the goddesses, and you know, I was working with the divine feminine for myself. Like, I needed to dive into my feminine side more because I am the sole provider of my family. And that makes me oftentimes go very into my masculine, into my businessy side, you know. And to stay connected to my feminine side, I was exploring more of the goddess energy and all that. So it sort of blended together, and I thought, this feels right, you know. That's the most beautiful name that I can think of, and it just came to me just like that, you know. So it gives me space to explore in different areas, and maybe it's my spirit guide, you know. I don't know. I get messages sometimes. I don't know about you, but sometimes I just get messages through things that you see, or dreams, or just thoughts that pop in, you know, people sometimes call downloads. And yeah, so I feel like there is magic in alchemy, in making art, creating, because we create things from other things, bringing it together. And so that is a magical thing. Yeah.
Awesome. I love how you're speaking into the layers and being multi-passionate and multi-creative. I think, you know, a lot of times we almost feel like we don't have permission to be interested in more than one thing or to follow more than one path or to try something new or even pivot in what we're doing. And I love how you bring that in with the alchemy. You can weave together different parts of your life and different interests and different passions.
Well, it gives permission, you know, it's something that's, because it's been hard. It's everything that I've done. People say, no, you have to choose one thing. And then I go like, yeah, but if I choose one thing, you cannot just take one part away from me. It's not, because I'm not no longer me. And I know that many multi-passionate souls resonate with that.
Yes.
Because that's the thing that we struggle with. Everybody always wants to be an expert in one thing. I don't think it's necessary to be that, you know, because there's space for us too. Yeah.
You know, even thinking about like our like university model, you have to choose your major, right? You have to pick your path, choose your, as if you can only be interested in one thing.
Yeah.
So Joyce, why in your work, in your personal life and the work that you do with others, why do you believe that creativity is so essential in our lives, particularly now, right, and the time that we're living in the planet now?
I can put it this in one sentence. I think creativity and creative expression is the cheapest and most available medicine available to us, because it's never ending. It doesn't cost anything. It's harmless. It's not, you know, yes, it's addictive, but in a good way, you know. But yeah, so it's the safest medicine that there is, and it's readily available to all of us. And the more we use, the more we have. You know, you cannot use it up. So easy, right? Everybody needs it. It also helps you express your emotions. You can, yeah, well, I mean, that's what the medicine does, right? It heals. It holds memories. It relaxes. For me, like when I create, it's a meditative process. When I'm not really a meditative person. Like I don't meditate like this and sit for half an hour. I cannot do that. I have very restless hands. So I always like to be doing something. So as long as I can create, and it can be a bit mindless, maybe sometimes, you know, I just turn off, like I'm consciously, maybe it's more subconscious, the moment I start creating and I get into that meditative state, it feels like things are channeled. And so it's relaxing, it's comforting, it's meditation in its own.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. That's beautiful. Beautiful description of art as medicine. I love that. So Joyce, I know that two themes that you talk about in your work are curiosity and playfulness.
Yeah.
How does that figure into your creative process or your work that you do?
So as I said earlier, I think we are all born creatives. And children, you just have to look at children. Children create without boundaries, without rules, without, you know, without any blocks. They just do. They just do it. And it's only the way we grow up and the way society and every establishment teaches us to be, that we lose that freedom. We lose that freedom. And children are curious. They just do something and they ask why, and they just keep going, you know, and nothing is ever impossible. And I think that if we can keep that childlike wonder, curiosity, if you keep that, then you stay more connected to your creativity. And so I'm a curious person. I like to know about things. I like to see things. I like to wonder why. I look at a little flower, for instance, close up. A lot of adults don't take that time anymore. They don't take that time to, you know, it's something that you've seen and you learned about as you were little, and now you're a grown up and you're focused on other things. But if you allow yourself to take time to really look at the small, beautiful things that are available in your backyard, even, you know, And look at the skies. What do you see in the clouds? Things like that. I mean, I meet people that they don't do that, and I'm surprised because that's something that I do every day. Look at the skies and look at the shape of the clouds and see things. So I think that if you can keep that curiosity, that childlike wonder alive, then you have a stronger connection with your creative practice, with your creativity at large. Yeah. Mm.
And I'm
And
wondering,
you want to surprise yourself. You want to surprise yourself every day. Yeah.
for our viewers who maybe are listening to you and feel like maybe they have lost a little bit of that childlike wonder, do you have like a baby step or a tip that an adult could take to just move more back into that direction, that playfulness and curiosity?
Yeah. So if you have a child in your realm, in your surroundings, like it could be a child or a neighbor child or a grandchild or whatever, just move down to their eye level, really just go to their eye level and try to experience the world as they see it. And if you don't have that, then just imagine yourself being a child again, and maybe start in the morning. You start in the morning and you wake up, and then what would you do as a child? Or remember what you used to do as a child, and then just look and take time slow. I don't know if you have that as well. I know a lot of my friends and the women that I talk to have this experience. So as a child, when we had a week's holiday from school, for instance, it felt like forever. We could do so many things, and now as an adult, when you have a week, it's like phew, gone. Time flies. And why is that? It's because we are not even allowing ourselves to enjoy each moment, to be present in the present moment. Yeah. So slow down, and just look. Take a plate, whatever you put on your plate in the morning, and start to study it. What does it look like? What does it taste like? Even if you eat, slow down your sensual experiences. When you look at something, try to see more than what you're looking at. When you taste something, when you eat something, try to really taste it. What do you taste? What is the texture? What is the flavor? What does it do to you? What does it make? Does it make you feel happy? Just really slow down those experiences. Once you start doing that, you will be surprised that you suddenly go like, oh, look, when I eat this pops. Oh, that's so cool. And then, experience that as the funny experience that it can be. Like, oh, look, when I bite on this, it makes a nice little pop. And then play with it, play with it. And just like a child will do that. And they'll go like, oh, mom, look what this does this and this thing, or grandma, look what when I do this happens, and just be surprised and just be excited about things. We lose excitement so often. And I think if you can find a way to surprise yourself every day, it brings more joy. That's also healing, Yeah.
I love
I
that.
can go on and on.
I love that tip of slowing down. We so rarely give ourselves permission to slow down as adults.
Yeah.
And I know I have 3 kids and they are never in a hurry, ever, to do anything. They are always so absorbed in what they're doing at that moment. All right, Joyce, I know you have a practice you're going to lead us through. So why don't we transition into that?
Cool. Okay, so you can grab anything. You can grab a journal, you can grab a sketchbook. For the ease of this, I've just put a page. I taped a page to my cardboard. It's just the back of a sketch pad. So if you ever want to do something like this, just never throw them away. And I will use just use a black pen because it shows up best. Yeah. So when I start creating from scratch, I'll give you a little bit of my process. Like for me, everything that I do is a little bit of a ritual. So as I said before, I calm down, take a moment, to to really take a breath in and out, to just calm down, be in this present moment. Maybe you can take 3 deep breaths in and out. Usually I do 3. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And then one more. And the other thing I do is I make sure that my feet are flat on the ground. So if you're standing, you can stand with, well, obviously with your feet flat on the ground. If you're sitting down, make sure that your legs are not crossed and that you've got both feet connected to our Mother Earth. When you concentrate on the soles of your feet, you can start to feel tingling. If you take a moment and you focus fully, like keep your eyes closed, focus fully on the soles on the bottom of your feet and really feel them touch the ground, then you can start to feel that tingling and as if you have roots going down into the ground and you feel that energy coming up. When you feel that coming up through your feet, then allow that to just move further up your legs to your knees. You can feel it warming. It warms, it tingles, it touches, and it just goes up and up and up to your hips. And then it comes to your belly area. And the belly area, for me, that is where our creativity, our wisdom, our superpowers reside. So keep that energy in that area. Let it turn, let it turn. If you want, you can help by rubbing your hand over your belly area. I usually go clockwise. I don't know if there's any reason for that, but that's what I do. So you can just rub your belly and feel that creative space moving. Feel it moving. Now, I'd like you to pull it up to your heart. Let it warm your heart. Let it warm your heart. And now I'd like you to think about something that makes you curious. What sparks your curiosity? What is one shape that sparks curiosity? Are you intrigued by spirals? Are you intrigued by triangles? Whatever shape you feel, and then you can open your eyes. Whatever shape you feel, you draw on your piece of paper. So you don't have to think about it, you just do. There's no right or wrong, you just draw that shape, just lines. You can go over them a couple of times if you feel like that. And when you have that line, then what you have space on your paper. So there will be areas that you want to go into, explore an area. There will be an area that is still open. Explore that area and just keep contact with your pencil or whatever tool you're using, your crayon, whatever tool you're using. Keep contact with the paper, don't let go, and just explore the open spaces, and just move how you feel it's right. Try to find the connection. What connects, what feels right. Make it as dark or keep it as light as you like. You can block in pieces with a whole color if you want. But try and keep contact with the paper. Try and keep contact with the paper. Don't have any expectations. It doesn't have to be anything. It can just feel right. your shape, your creativity, your paper, your experience. Just keep drawing or moving around on the paper. Maybe there's something else that you like to add. Maybe you've got a word or a letter that comes to mind. If so, you can add that. You don't have to explain anything to yourself. You just feel in that movement of your pencil on the paper, just what feels right. Just starting, just beginning. And so when you've moved most of your paper, like you probably have managed to fill in bits on all corners of your sheet now. What you can do now is touch it with your left hand. Touch it with your left hand and just move over it, rub over it, however it feels right. So I'll show you. So I've done these shapes, and so now you can just rub over it. Feel your hands, and you can do both hands if you want. You can put it on the table and feel with both hands. And if you just close your eyes and rub your hands over it, and then think about your creative expression. What color would you would you give this? What color would you give your creative expression? Is there one color that comes to mind? One color, even if you think, is it warm or cold? You know, do you feel warm or cold at the moment? You can be in a warm place and feel very cold. You can be in a cold place and feel very hot, you know? And if you have any colors available to you, you can add your color. If not, you could write it. You could just write the word there. You could write the word. Whatever comes to you, that's the right thing, you know? And then, so this is all a start, right? This is all a start. It's a start of getting out of that fear of the blank page that a lot of people experience. A lot of people feel like, oh, I've got a blank piece of paper and I don't want to make a mistake. There are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. That's why I say, just go with the flow of your pencil. Go with the flow. Whatever word or whatever color comes up, that's right. It's good. You know, I wrote down yellow. And to be truthful, it is a cold day here. I'm not wearing yellow. And usually yellow comes in warm days, you know, but I feel very yellow today. And so I don't understand yet why. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know. So I commit to that word. And then what I can do is I can work with this for hours, you know, but this is a start. So I like you to have a start. I like you to have a start where you just take a moment to connect with your creativity and start on a blank piece of paper or a canvas or whatever it is. Never be afraid. Always just start. Just start. When you climb a ladder, you don't have to see the top where it ends. You just need to start with the first step. So you take a first step, and then we'll see. As I said earlier, we are layering, you know, we are layered, we are layering. You can layer so many things from this yet, you know. I will write on this. Show you another. So you can write on this. If you can see, there's writing here underneath. You can paint, you can write, you can glue words on this, right? You can glue images. You can glue images and then paint over it again. So this is just a start. Always make a start. From this, something grows, right? From the shape, just because you've chosen a shape, it will bring you into a little journey that brings you to another, to something more. You know, there's always something more that comes from it. So that is how I start. That is how I start, without any expectations, without any plan, you know, and just doing, just by doing. Yeah, I hope that helps. You know, I hope that helps, because that's what most people are afraid of, that first step, that first start. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I love that practice because, like you said, that's the part that creates the fear and the blank page and all that. And I think that's going to be a really valuable practice to our viewers, especially if they're trying to start their journey or a different step of their journey. That, yeah, just getting started. Thank you, Joyce. So before we go, I know you also have a free gift that you're going to offer our viewers today. Would you like to tell us about that?
So the gift is Explore and Shine. It's another creative activity. It comes with a template, so you don't have to worry, because that's another thing that I hear a lot, that people say, oh, but I cannot draw properly, and you know, and how can I make something that is going to look right? So don't worry, there's a template, there's a step-by-step guide of what you can do. Again, there's no right and there's no wrong. Oftentimes I do read afterwards what people have created, because a lot of the times you can read into what has been created. You know, you can read messages. As I said, I get messages. You get messages through your creative expression. So I do that for my clients too. You know, I read what they're creating. I can read messages, and it's like almost like little directions for them. Yeah, like, and that's why the compass is so amazing, because it gives you a new direction. It gives you a confirmation of, you know, of things. So yeah, this activity comes with a template and a step-by-step sheet as well, so you can just follow the steps and do it just how it comes out for you. And I always love it when people do them and share them with me. Yeah.
Awesome. Joyce, thank you so much for that free gift. And thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your journey and your wisdom and your practice. I know that our viewers are going to get a lot of value out of the conversation, as well as the art practice that you taught us today.
I hope so, yeah.
And viewers, thank you for watching, and be sure to check your inbox tomorrow for another great interview. Bye now.
Bye.